but weakly guarded where the breach was made. And now there rests no other shift but this, to gather our soldiers, scattered and dispersed, and lay new platforms to endamage them. Alarum, enter an English soldier, crying, a Talbot, a Talbot. They fly, leaving their clothes behind. Soldier, I'll be so bold to take what they have left. The cry of Talbot serves me for a sword, for I have loaden me with many spoils, using no other weapon but his name. Scene 2, Orleans, within the town. Enter Talbot, Bedford, Burgundy, a captain and others. Bedford. The day begins to break, and night is fled, whose pitchy mantle overveiled the earth. Hear sound retreat, and cease our hot pursuit. Retreat sounded. Talbot, bring forth the body of old Salisbury, and here advance it in the marketplace, the middle centre of this cursed town. Dead march, enter with the body of Salisbury. Now have I paid my vow unto his soul, for every drop of blood was drawn from him. There hath at least 5 Frenchmen died tonight, and that hereafter ages may behold what ruin happened in revenge of him. Within their chiefest temple I'll erect a tomb wherein his corpse shall be interred, upon the which, that everyone may read, shall be engraved the sack of Orleans, the treacherous manner of his mournful death, and what a terror he had been to France. But, lords, in all our bloody massacre, I muse we met not with the Dauphin's grace, his new-come champion, virtuous Joan of Arc, nor any of his false confederates. Bedford. 'Tis thought Lord Talbot, when the fight began, roused on the sudden from their drowsy beds, they did amongst the troops of armed men leap o'er the walls for refuge in the field. Burgundy. Myself, as far as I could well discern, for smoke and dusky vapors of the night, am sure I scared the Dauphin and his trull, when arm in arm they both came swiftly running, like to a pair of loving turtle-doves, that could not live asunder day or night. After that things are set in order here, we'll follow them with all the power we have. Enter a messenger. Messenger. All hail, my lords, which of this princely train call ye the warlike Talbot for his acts, so much applauded through the realm of France? Talbot. Here is the Talbot who would speak with him. Messenger. The virtuous lady, Countess of Auvergne, with modesty admiring thy renown, by me entreats, great lord, thou wouldst vouchsafe to visit her poor castle where she lies, that she may boast she hath beheld the man whose glory fills the world with loud report. Burgundy. Is it even so? Nay, then I see our wars will turn unto a peaceful comic sport, when ladies crave to be encountered with. You may not, my lord, despise her gentle suit. Talbot. Ne'er trust me then, for when a world of men could not prevail with all their oratory, yet hath a woman's kindness overruled, and therefore tell her I return great thanks, and in submission will attend on her. Will not your honors bear me company? Bedford. No, truly, it is more than manners will, and I have heard it said, unbidden guests are often welcomest when they are gone. Talbot. Well then, alone, since there's no remedy, I mean to prove this lady's courtesy. Come hither, captain, you perceive my mind. Captain, I do, my lord, and mean accordingly. Scene 3, Auvergne, the Countess's castle. Enter the Countess and her porter. Countess. Porter, remember what I gave in charge. And when you have done so, bring the keys to me. Porter. Madam, I will. Countess. The plot is laid, if all things fall out right. I shall as famous be by this exploit as Scythian Tomiris by Cyrus' death. Great is the rumor of this dreadful knight, and his achievements of no less account. Fain would mine eyes be witness with mine ears, to give their censure of these rare reports. Enter messenger and Talbot. Messenger. Madam, according as your ladyship desired. By message craved, so is Lord Talbot come. Countess. And he is welcome, what is this the man? Messenger. Madam, it is. Countess. Is this the scourge of France? Is this the Talbot, so much feared abroad? That with his name, the mothers still their babes. I see report is fabulous and false. I thought I should have seen some Hercules, a second Hector for his grim aspect, and large proportion of his strong-knit limbs. Alas, this is a child, a silly dwarf. It cannot be this weak and writhled shrimp should strike such terror to his enemies. Talbot. Madam, I have been bold to trouble you, but since your ladyship is not at leisure, I'll sort some other time to visit you. Countess. What means he now? Go ask him whither he goes. Messenger. Stay, my Lord Talbot, for my lady craves to know the cause of your abrupt departure. Talbot. Mary, for that she's in a wrong belief. I go to certify her Talbot's here. Enter porter with keys. Countess. If thou be he, then art thou prisoner. Talbot. Prisoner to whom? Countess. To me, bloodthirsty lord. And for that cause I train thee to my house. Long time thy shadow hath been thrall to me, for in my gallery thy picture hangs. But now the substance shall endure the like, and I will chain these legs and arms of thine, that hast by tyranny these many years wasted our country, slain our citizens, and sent our sons and husbands captivate. Talbot. Hard. Countess. Laughest thou, wretch, thy mirth shall turn to moan. Talbot. I laugh to see your ladyship so fond, to think that you have aught but Talbot's shadow, whereon to practice your severity. Countess. Why art not thou the man? Talbot. I am indeed. Countess. Then have I substance too. Talbot. No, I am but shadow of myself. You are deceived, my substance is not here. For what you see is but the smallest part, and least proportion of humanity. I tell you, madam, with a whole frame here. It is of such a spacious lofty pitch, your roof were not sufficient to contain tea. Countess. This is a riddling merchant for the nonce. He will be here, and yet he is not here. How can these contrarieties agree? Talbot. That will I show you presently. Winds his horn, drums strike up, a peal of ordnance, enter soldiers. How say you, madam, are you now persuaded that Talbot is but shadow of himself? These are his substance, sinews, arms, and strength, with which he yoketh your rebellious necks, raiseth your cities, and subverts your towns, and in a moment makes them desolate. Counters. Victorious Talbot, pardon my abuse. I find thou art no less than fame hath brooded, and more than may be gathered by thy shape. Let my presumption not provoke thy wrath, for I am sorry that, with reverence, I did not entertain thee as thou art. Talbot. Be not dismayed, fair lady, nor misconstrue the mind of Talbot, as you did mistake the outward composition of his body. What you have done hath not offended me, nor other satisfaction do I crave, but only with your patience that we may taste of your wine and see what cates you have. For soldiers, stomachs always serve them well. Counters. With all my heart, and think me honored to feast so great a warrior in my house. Scene 4, London, the Temple Garden. Enter the Earls of Somerset, Suffolk, and Warwick, Richard Plantagenet, Vernon, and another lawyer. Plantagenet. Great lords and gentlemen, what means this silence? Dare no man answer in a case of truth. Suffolk. Within the Temple Hall we were too loud. The garden here is more convenient. Plantagenet. Then say at once if I maintain the truth, or else was wrangling Somerset in th. error. Suffolk. Faith, I have been a truant in the law, and never yet could frame my will to it, and therefore frame the law unto my will. Somerset. Judge you, my Lord of Warwick, then, between us. Warwick. Between two hawks, which flies the higher pitch. Between two dogs, which hath the deeper mouth. Between two blades, which bears the better temper. Between two horses, which doth bear him best. Between two girls, which hath the merriest eye. I have perhaps some shallow spirit of judgment, but in these nice, sharp quillets of the law, good faith, I am no wiser than a daw. Plantagenet. Tut, tut, here is a mannerly forbearance. The truth appears so naked on my side, that any purblind eye may find it out. Somerset. And on my side it is so well apparelled, so clear, so shining, and so evident, that it will glimmer through a blind man's eye. Plantagenet. Since you are tongue-tied and so loath to speak, in dumb significance proclaim your thoughts. Let him that is a true-born gentleman, and stands upon the honor of his birth, if he suppose that I have pleaded truth, from off this briar pluck a white rose with me. Somerset. Let him that is no coward nor no flatterer, but dare maintain the party of the truth, pluck a red rose from off this thorn with me. Warwick. I love no colours, and without all colour of base insinuating flattery, I pluck this white rose with Plantagenet. Suffolk. I pluck this red rose with young Somerset, and say withal, I think he held the right. Vernon. Stay, lords and gentlemen, and pluck no more, till you conclude that he upon whose side the fewest roses are cropped from the tree shall yield the other in the right opinion. Somerset. Good Master Vernon, it is well objected. If I have fewest, I subscribe in silence. Plantagenet. And I. Vernon. Then for the truth, and plainness of the case. I pluck this pale and maiden blossom here, giving my verdict on the white rose side. SOMERSCT. Prick not your finger as you pluck it off, lest, blading, you do paint the white rose red, and fall on my side so, against your will. Vernon. If I, my lord, for my opinion blade, opinion shall be surgeon to my hurt, and keep me on the side where still I am. SOMERSCT. Well, come on, who else? Lawyer. Unless my study and my books be false, the argument you held was wrong in loss, in sign whereof I pluck a white rose too. Plantagenet. Now, Somerset, where is your argument? SOMERSCT. Here in my scabbard, meditating that shall dye your white rose in a bloody red. Plantagenet. Meantime your cheeks do counterfeit our roses, for pale they look with fear, as witnessing the truth on our side. SOMERSCT. No, Plantagenet. 'Tis not for fear, but anger that thy cheeks blush for pure shame to counterfeit our roses, and yet thy tongue will not confess thy error. Plantagenet. Hath not thy rose a canker, Somerset? SOMERSCT. Hath not thy rose a thorn, Plantagenet? Plantagenet. Eye sharp and piercing to maintain his truth, whilst thy consuming canker eats his falsehood. SOMERSCT. Well, I'll find friends to wear my bleeding roses, that shall maintain what I have said is true, where false Plantagenet dare not be seen. Plantagenet. Now, by this maiden blossom in my hand, I scorn thee and thy fashion, peevish boy. Suffrage. Turn not thy scorns this way, Plantagenet. Plantagenet. Proud Pole, I will, and scorn both him and thee. Suffrage. I'll turn my part thereof into thy throat. SOMERSCT. Away, good William de la Pole. We grace the yeoman by conversing with him. Warwick. Now by God's will thou wrongst him, Somerset. His grandfather was Lionel Duke of Clarence, third son to the third Edward King of England. Spring crestless yeoman from so deep a root. Plantagenet. He bears him on the place's privilege, or durst not for his craven heart say thus. SOMERSCT. By him that made me, I'll maintain my words. On any plot of ground in Christendom, was not thy father, Richard Earl of Cambridge, for treason executed in our late king's days? And by his treason stand'st not thou attainted, corrupted and exempt from ancient gentry? His trespass yet lives guilty in thy blood. Until thou be restored, thou art a yeoman. Plantagenet. My father was attached, not attainted, condemned to die for treason, but no traitor. And that I'll prove on better men than Somerset, were growing time once ripened to my will. For your partaker, Pole, and you yourself, I'll note you in my book of memory, to scourge you for this apprehension. Look to it well, and say you are well warned. SOMERSCT. Thou shalt find us ready for thee still, and know us by these colours for thy foes. For these my friends, in spite of thee, shall wear. Plantagenet. And by my soul, this pale and angry rose, as cognizance of my blood-drinking hate, will I for ever and my faction wear. until it wither with me to my grave, or flourish to the height of my degree. Suffrage. Go forward and be chalked with thy ambition, and so farewell until I meet thee next. SOMERSCT. Have with thee, Pole, farewell, ambitious Richard. Plantagenet. How I am braved and must perforce endure it. Warwick. This blot that they object against your house shall be wiped out in the next Parliament. Called for the truce of Winchester and Gloucester. And if thou be not then created York, I will not live to be accounted Warwick. Meantime, in signal of my love to thee, against proud Somerset and William Pole, will I upon thy party wear this rose. And here I prophesy this brawl today, grown to this faction in the Temple Garden, shall send between the red rose and the white 1,000 souls to death and deadly night. Plantagenet. Good Master Vernon, I am bound to you, that you on my behalf would pluck a flower. Vernon. In your behalf still will I wear the same. Lawyer. And so will I. Plantagenet. Thanks, gentlemen. Come, let us for to dinner, I dare say. This quarrel will drink blood another day. Scene 5, the Tower of London. Enter Mortimer, brought in a chair, and jailers. Mortimer. Kind keepers of my weak, decaying age, let dying Mortimer here rest himself, even like a man new haled from the rack. So fare my limbs with long imprisonment, and these grey locks the pursuivants of death. Nestor-like aged in an age of care, argue the end of Edmund Mortimer. These eyes, like lamps whose wasting oil is spent, wax dim as drawing to their exigent. Weak shoulders, overborne with burdening grief, and pithless arms, like to a withered vine, that droops his sapless branches to the ground. Yet are these feet, whose strengthless stay is numb, unable to support this lump of clay, swift-winged with desire to get a grave, as witting I no other comfort have. But tell me, keeper, will my nephew come? First jailer. Richard Plantagenet, my lord, will come. We sent unto the temple, unto his chamber, and answer was returned that he will come. Mortimer. Enough, my soul shall then be satisfied. Poor gentleman, his wrong doth equal mine, since Henry Monmouth first began to reign, before whose glory I was great in arms. This loathsome sequestration have I had, and even since then hath Richard been obscured, deprived of honor and inheritance, but now the arbitrator of despairs. Just death, kind umpire of men's miseries, with sweet enlargement doth dismiss me hence. I would his troubles likewise were expired, that so he might recover what was lost. Enter Richard Plantagenet. First jailer. My lord, your loving nephew now is come. Mortimer. Richard Plantagenet, my friend, is he come? Plantagenet. I, noble uncle, thus ignobly used. Your nephew, late despised Richard, comes. Mortimer. Direct mine arms, I may embrace his neck, and in his bosom spend my latter gasp. Oh, tell me, when my lips do touch his cheeks, that I may kindly give one fainting kiss. And now declare, sweet stem from York's great stock, why didst thou say of late thou wert despised? Plantagenet. first lean, then aged back against mine arm. And in that ease, I'll tell thee my disease. This day, in argument upon a case, some words there grew twixt Somerset and me, among which terms he used his lavish tongue, and did upbraid me with my father's death, which obloquy set bars before my tongue. Else with the like I had requited him. Therefore, good uncle, for my father's sake, in honor of a true Plantagenet, and for alliance sake, declare the cause. My father, Earl of Cambridge, lost his head. Mortimer, that cause, fair nephew, that imprisoned me, and hath detained me all my flowering youths within a loathsome dungeon there to pine, was cursed instrument of his decease. Plantagenet, discover more at large what cause that was, for I am ignorant and cannot guess. Mortimer, I will, if that my fading breath permit, and death approach not ere my tale be done. Henry the Fourth, grandfather to this king, deposed his nephew Richard, Edward's son, the first begotten and the lawful heir of Edward King, the third of that descent, during whose reign the Percys of the North, finding his usurpation most unjust, endeavored my advancement to the throne. The reason moved these warlike lords to this was for that young King Richard thus removed, leaving no heir begotten of his body, I was the next by birth and parentage, for by my mother I derived am from Lionel Duke of Clarence, third son, to King Edward the Third, whereas he from John of Gaunt doth bring his pedigree, being but fourth of that heroic line. But mark, as in this haughty great attempt they labored to plant the rightful heir, I lost my liberty and they their lives. Long after this, when Henry the Fifth, succeeding his father Bolingbroke, did reign, thy father, Earl of Cambridge, then derived from famous Edmund Langley, Duke of York, marrying my sister that thy mother was, again, in pity of my hard distress, levied an army, weening to redeem, and have installed me in the diadem. But as the rest, so fell that noble earl, and was beheaded. Thus the Mortimers, in whom the title rested, were suppressed. Plantagenet, of which, my lord, your honor is the last. Mortimer, true, and thou seest that I no issue have, and that my fainting words do warrant death. Thou art my heir, the rest I wish thee gather, but yet be wary in thy studious care. Plantagenet, thy grave admonishments prevail with me, but yet methinks my father's execution was nothing less than bloody tyranny. Mortimer, with silence, nephew, be thou politic. Strong fixed is the house of Lancaster, and like a mountain not to be removed. But now thy uncle is removing hence, as princes do their courts when they are cloyed, with long continuance in a settled place. Plantagenet, O uncle, would some part of my young years might but redeem the passage of your age. Mortimer, thou dost then wrong me as that slaughterer doth, which giveth many wounds when one will kill. Mourn not, except thou sorrow for my good. Only give order for my funeral. And so farewell, and fair be all thy hopes, and prosperous be thy life in peace and war. Plantagenet, and peace, no war, befall thy parting soul. In prison hast thou spent a pilgrimage, and like a hermit overpass thy days. Well, I will lock his counsel in my breast, and what I do imagine, let that rest. Keepers convey him hence, and I myself will see his burial better than his life. Exeunt jailers, bearing out the body of Mortimer. Here dies the dusky torch of Mortimer, choked with ambition of the meaner sort. And for those wrongs, those bitter injuries, which Somerset hath offered to my house, I doubt not but with honour to redress. And therefore haste I to the Parliament, either to be restored to my blood, or make mine ill advantage of my good. Act 3. Scene 1, London, the Parliament House. Flourish, enter King, Exeter, Gloucester, the Bishop of Winchester, Richard Plantagenet, Warwick and Somerset, Suffolk and others. Gloucester offers to put up a bill. Winchester snatches it, tears it. Winchester, com'st thou with deep premeditated lines, with written pamphlets studiously devised. Humphrey of Gloucester, if thou canst accuse, or aught intend'st to lay unto my charge, do it without invention, suddenly, as I with sudden and extemporal speech purpose to answer what thou canst object. Gloucester, presumptuous priest, this place commands my patience, or thou shouldst find thou hast dishonoured me. Think not, although in writing I preferred the manner of thy vile, outrageous crimes, that therefore I have forged, or am not able, verbatim to rehearse the method of my pen. No, prelate, such is thy audacious wickedness, thy lewd, pestiferous, and dissentious pranks, as very infants prattle of thy pride. Thou art a most pernicious usurer, froward by nature, enemy to peace, lascivious, wanton, more than well beseems a man of thy profession and degree. And for thy treachery, what's more manifest, in that thou laidst a trap to take my life, as well at London Bridge as at the Tower. Beside, I fear me, if thy thoughts are sifted, the king, thy sovereign, is not quite exempt from envious malice of thy swelling heart. Winchester, Gloucester, I do defy thee, lords, vouchsafe to give me hearing what I shall reply. If I were covetous, ambitious, or perverse, as he will have me, how am I so poor? Or how haps it, I seek not to advance, or raise myself, but keep my wonted calling. And for dissension, who preferreth peace more than I do, except I be provoked? No, my good lords, it is not that offends. It is not that hath incensed the Duke. It is because no one should sway but he. No one but he should be about the king. And that engenders thunder in his breast, and makes him roar these accusations forth. But he shall know I am as good. Gloucester, as good, thou bastard of my grandfather. Winchester, I, lordly sir, for what are you, I pray, but one imperious in another's throne? Gloucester, am I not protector, saucy priest? Winchester, and am not I a prelate of the church? Gloucester, yes, as an outlaw in a castle keeps, and useth it to patronage his theft. Winchester, unreverent Gloucester. Gloucester, thou art reverend, touching thy spiritual function, not thy life. Winchester, Rome shall remedy this. Gloucester, Rome's thither then. Warwick, my lord, it were your duty to forbear. Somerst. I, so the bishop be not overborne. Methinks my lord should be religious, and know the office that belongs to such. Warwick. Methinks his lordship should be humbler. It fitteth not a prelate so to plead. Somerst. Yes, when his holy state is touched so near. Warwick. State holy or unhallowed, what of that? Is not his grace protector to the king? Plantagenet. Plantagenet, I see, must hold his tongue, lest it be said, speak, sirrah, when you should. Must your bold verdict enter talk with lords? Else would I have a fling at Winchester. King Henry. Uncles of Gloucester and of Winchester, the special watchmen of our English weal. I would prevail, if prayers might prevail, to join your hearts in love and amity. Oh, what a scandal is it to our crown, that two such noble peers as ye should jar. Believe me, lords, my tender years can tell. 153 dissension is a viperous worm, that gnaws the bowels of the commonwealth. A noise within, down with the tawny coats. What tumult's this? Warwick. An uproar, I dare warrant, begun through malice of the bishop's men. A noise again, stones, stones. Enter Mayor. Mayor. Oh, my good lords and virtuous Henry, pity the city of London, pity us. The bishop and the Duke of Gloucester's men, forbidden late to carry any weapon, have filled their pockets full of pebble stones, and banding themselves in contrary parts, do pelt so fast at one another's pate, that many have their giddy brains knocked out. Our windows are broke down in every street, and we for fear compelled to shut our shops. Enter serving men in skirmish with bloody pates. King Henry. We charge you, on allegiance to ourself, to hold your slaughtering hands and keep the peace. Pray, Uncle Gloucester, mitigate this strife. First servingman. Nay, if we be forbidden stones, we'll fall to it with our teeth. Second servingman. Do what ye dare, we are as resolute. Gloucester. You of my household, leave this peevish broil, and set this unaccustomed fight aside. Third servingman. My lord, we know your grace to be a man, just and upright, and for your royal birth, inferior to none but to his majesty, and ere that we will suffer such a prince, so kind a father of the commonweal, to be disgraced by an inkhorn mate. We and our wives and children all will fight, and have our bodies slaughtered by thy foes. First servingman. I and the very parings of our nails shall pitch a field when we are dead. Gloucester. Stay, stay, I say. And if you love me, as you say you do, let me persuade you to forbear a while. King Henry. Oh, how this discord doth afflict my soul. Can you, my lord of Winchester, behold my sighs and tears, and will not once relent? Who should be pitiful if you be not? Or who should study to prefer a peace, if holy churchmen take delight in broils? Warwick. Yield, my lord protector, yield, Winchester. Except you mean, with obstinate repulse, to slay your sovereign and destroy the realm. You see what mischief, and what murder too, hath been enacted through your enmity. Then be at peace, except ye thirst for blood. Winchester. He shall submit, or I will never yield. Gloucester. Compassion on the king commands me stoop, or I would see his heart out ere the priest should ever get that privilege of me. Warwick. Behold, my lord of Winchester, the Duke, hath banished moody, discontented fury, as by his smoothed brows it doth appear. Why look you still so stern and tragical? Gloucester. Here, Winchester, I offer thee my hand. King Henry. Fie, Uncle Beaufort, I have heard you preach that malice was a great and grievous sin. And will not you maintain the thing you teach, but prove a chief offender in the same? Warwick. Sweet king, the bishop hath a kindly gird. For shame, my lord of Winchester, relent. What shall a child instruct you what to do? Winchester. Well, Duke of Gloucester, I will yield to thee. Love for thy love, and hand for hand I give. Gloucester. Ay, but I fear me with a hollow heart. See here, my friends and loving countrymen, this token serveth for a flag of truce betwixt ourselves and all our followers. So help me God, as I dissemble not. Winchester. So help me God, as I intend it not. King Henry. O loving uncle, kind Duke of Gloucester, how joyful am I made by this contract. Away, my masters, trouble us no more, but join in friendship, as your lords have done. First servingman. Content, I'll to the surgeon S. Second servingman. And so will I. Third servingman. And I will see what physic the tavern affords. Exeunt servingmen, mayor and see. Warwick. Accept this scroll, most gracious sovereign, which in the right of Richard Plantagenet we do exhibit to your majesty. Gloucester. Well urged, my lord of Warwick, for sweet prince, and if your grace mark every circumstance, you have great reason to do Richard right, especially for those occasions. At Eltham Place, I told your majesty, King Henry, and those occasions, uncle, were of force. Therefore, my loving lords, our pleasure is that Richard be restored to his blood. Warwick. Let Richard be restored to his blood. So shall his father's wrongs be recompensed. Winchester. As will the rest, so willeth Winchester. King Henry. If Richard will be true, not that alone, but all the whole inheritance I give, that doth belong unto the house of York, from whence you spring by lineal descent. Plantagenet. Thy humble servant vows obedience and humble service till the point of death. King Henry. Stoop then and set your knee against my foot, and in reguerdon of that duty done, I girt thee with the valiant sword of York. Rise, Richard, like a true Plantagenet, and rise, created princely Duke of York. Plantagenet. And so thrive, Richard, as thy foes may fall, and as my duty springs, so perish they. That grudge one thought against your majesty. Old. Welcome, High Prince, the mighty Duke of York. SOMERSCT. Perish, base prince, ignoble Duke of York. Gloucester. Now will it best avail your majesty to cross the seas and to be crowned in France. The presence of a king engenders love amongst his subjects and his loyal friends, as it disanimates his enemies. King Henry. When Gloucester says the word, King Henry goes. For friendly counsel, cuts off many foes. Gloucester. Your ships already are in readiness. Senate flourish, exeunt all but Exeter. Exeter. Aye, we may march in England or in France, not seeing what is likely to ensue. This late dissension, grown betwixt the peers, burns under feigned ashes of forged love, and will at last break out into a flame, as festered members rot but by degree, till bones and flesh and sinews fall away. So will this base and envious discord breed. And now I fear that fatal prophecy, which in the time of Henry, named the Fifth, was in the mouth of every sucking babe, that Henry born at Monmouth should win all, and Henry born at Windsor lose all, which is so plain that Exeter doth wish his days may finish ere that hapless time. Scene 2, France, before Rouen. Enter La Pucelle with 4 soldiers with sacks upon their backs. Pucelle. These are the city gates, the gates of Rouen, through which our policy must make a breach. Take heed, be wary how you place your words. Talk like the vulgar sort of market men that come to gather money for their corn. If we have entrance, as I hope we shall, and that we find the slothful watch but weak, I'll by a sign give notice to our friends, that Charles the Dauphin may encounter them. First soldier. Our sacks shall be a mean to sack the city, and we be lords and rulers over Rouen. Therefore we'll knock. Watch. Qui est là? Pucelle. Paysans, la pauvres gens de France. Poor market folks that come to sell their corn. Watch. Enter, go in, the market bell is rung. Pucelle. Now, Rouen, I'll shake thy bulwarks to the ground. Enter Charles, the bastard of Orleans, Alençon, Régnier, and forces. Charles. Saint Denis, bless this happy stratagem, and once again we'll sleep secure in Rouen. Bastard. Here entered Pucelle and her practisance. Now she is there, how will she specify? Here is the best and safest passage in. Reignier. By thrusting out a torch from yonder tower, which once discerned shows that her meaning is no way to that, for weakness, which she entered. Enter La Pucelle on the top, thrusting out a torch burning. Pucelle. Behold, this is the happy wedding torch that joineth Rouen unto her countrymen, but burning fatal to the Talbonites. Bastard. See, noble Charles, the beacon of our friend. The burning torch in yonder turret stands. Charles. Now shine it like a comet of revenge, a prophet to the fall of all our foes. Reignier. Defer no time, delays have dangerous ends. Enter and cry the Dauphin presently, and then do execution on the watch. An alarum, enter Talbot in an excursion. Talbot. France, thou shalt rue this treason with thy tears, if Talbot but survive thy treachery. Pucelle, that witch, that damned sorceress, hath wrought this hellish mischief unawares, that hardly we escaped the pride of France. An alarum, excursions, Bedford brought in sick in a chair. Enter Talbot and Burgundy without. Within, La Pucelle, Charles, Bastard, Alençon, and Régnier on the walls. Pucelle. Good morrow, gallants, want ye corn for bread? I think the Duke of Burgundy will fast before he'll buy again at such a rate. 'Twas full of darnel, do you like the taste? Burgundy. Scoff on, vile fiend, and shameless courtesan. I trust ere long to choke thee with thine own, and make thee curse the harvest of that corn. Charles, your grace may starve, perhaps, before that time. Bedford. Oh, let no words, but deeds, revenge this treason. Pucll. What will you do, good greybeard? Break a lance, and run a tilt at death within a chair. Talbot. Foul fiend of France and hag of all despite, encompassed with thy lustful paramours, becomes it thee to taunt his valiant A, and twit with cowardice a man half dead? Damsel, I'll have a bout with you again, or else let Talbot perish with this shame. Pucll. Are ye so hot, yet Pucelle hold thy peace. If Talbot do but thunder, rain will follow. The English whisper together in council. God speed the Parliament, who shall be the Speaker. Talbot. Dare ye come forth and meet us in the field? Pucll. Belike your lordship takes us then for fools, to try if that our own be ours or no. Talbot. I speak not to that railing Hecate, but unto thee, Alençon, and the rest. Will ye, like soldiers, come and fight it out? Alençon. Seigneur, no. Talbot. Seigneur, hang, base muleteers of France. Like peasant footboys do they keep the walls, and dare not take up arms like gentlemen. Pucll. Away, captains, let's get us from the walls, for Talbot means no goodness by his looks. Goodbye, my lord, we came but to tell you that we are here. Exeunt from the walls. Talbot. And there will we be too, ere it be long.